the voices inside my head. See voices behind the wall, uplifting the underdog. We fighting above the law.
Deep diving into these cases is like dancing with the devil. But when you dance with the devil doesn't change. He changes you.
Let me grab my phone. Hey guys. There we go. Hey Megs. Eve, hey sis. You see? It's beautiful. Oh, there it goes with the different colors. Mustang Mama. Everyone and their moms is live tonight. But I wanted to go over a different cold case that in the last 2 or 3 years has been getting proper justice, but it took almost 3 decades. Wait till you guys see this story. I was like, holy shit. Also, I've been talking to some friends of mine who has credentials and stuff and learning about what exactly does it mean if the law is putting on the news and stuff like that and letting the media know, the parents are cooperating. What's the difference between saying, the parents are cooperating and, does that mean that the law thinks they're innocent, or how that goes? So I think I'm going to have some special speakers for you guys about some Wells topics. Let me pull up this case. So today, March 24th, is 1,013 days of Summer Wells being missing, okay? And I know a lot of us get discouraged. Okay, I know a lot of us get discouraged because all this time has gone by and we still have very little. But this case gave me refreshed hope again. Hey, running. Excuse me. Okay, I won't. Okay, so I'm going to want you to. My channel history. There we go. And I think first we will I'll put on. Here we go. Yeah, DNA. I believe, so this mother murders, I believe, 2 babies that she has, okay? Back in the 90s, like in 92, 93. And she gets away with it up until like 2020 or something like that. I don't know. It went 27 years before the mother was arrested. So what had happened is they found a baby doe, right? Nobody reported a child missing. They couldn't figure out who it was. Well, thank God for the 23andMe testing and this woman here or one of her family members wanting to do DNA testing. Hi, Just I. Hi, Mimsy. Welcome, everyone. I'll play this one first. Give me a second here. There we go. Zena!
A lifeless, nameless body of a newborn baby boy found abandoned and mangled on a remote, snowy country road.
I don't know how anybody could do that. It's awful.
Spurring a fight to find his identity, his parents, and his killer.
You do not have to give your name. Call and help us identify this individual.
A search that would span decades and a community that would never forget.
We will follow this to its conclusion.
26 years later,
This is wild, you guys. Imagine being able to live your life for almost 3 decades knowing you killed your baby, a newborn baby. What are you doing?
Can they hear you?
Yeah?
You sure?
Yeah? Why?
Mike's over there.
I know, I just pushed it over there. Can you guys hear fine? Well, I'm gonna play the video anyway.
a big break thanks to new DNA technology and good old-fashioned police work.
What we ended up building was over 1,400 person family tree, and we had never done it before.
Eventually leading them to a woman who had moved on with her life, got him married, raised 3 kids, taking them to a church camp just miles from where.
Oh my gosh, you guys. All right. Yeah, I pushed the microphone back a little bit, but as long as you can hear me, that's good. I was chewing, so. And if you can't hear my chewing that good, if the microphone's over there, then yay. Hi, Brandy. Okay, well, I move my mic closer to my mouth when I'm not chewing my food. All right, here we go. As long as you can hear the video good, that's all you need right now.
Had been found dead, always looking over her shoulder for when this day would finally come.
You have any idea what we want to talk to you about?
It was about a baby.
Yeah. What about?
A baby that was left.
It's a crime so shocking it would forever change this community. For the first time, we show you never before seen video of the investigation. I'm Sarah Goldenberg. I'm taking you inside.
So that woman knows because the FBI or whatever waited 2 weeks between going to this lady's parents' house and to this lady's house.
The case file in episode 1 of To Catch a Killer, GEAUGA'S
Come
Child.
up here if you want.
About 30 miles east of Cleveland in Geauga County, you'll find countryside you can easily get lost in. A good place to bury secrets deep in the woods. But on one March day in 1993, this one was uncovered. A baby boy found dead on a gravel road in Thompson Township. So unrecognizable, some people pass by not even knowing this was a child.
Wish
That is fucking terrible.
we could have found it alive.
But Cheryl Jenkins knew something wasn't right. Out delivering papers, she spotted the baby lying on Sidley Road.
Just hope they find who did it. I hope they're punished. Because there's a lot of people out there that want babies. They could have gave it up for adoption or something.
Her call to police.
Right? Yeah, ain't that something? And you guys, just so you know, we reached our goal over on the TikTok and we can start doing lives over there now. So in the next week or so, we're going to start doing lives and bringing Summer Wells as much as possible on that platform to get more well known on the TikToks too, not just Facebook and YouTube.
Set off a massive investigation.
I know this is bad.
Never seen
So
before footage shows investigation.
trigger warning, but yeah, I'm showing you guys this because we're gonna listen to, there's a lot on this and it came in my feed today and I was like, you know what, we keep saying how long 3 years has been and we're never gonna get the answers, so at least this gives like refreshed hope that no matter what, it might take some time, but it doesn't mean we won't get answers one day, someday.
Gently
We just have to be patient.
Over the
We all want it on our time. Like, we're all ready. We want to know now, and it's not about that. It's got to be, everything's in the timing. It's not our timing. It's all in God's timing.
His tiny body. They found this plastic bag down the road in the woods nearby. Geauga County Sheriff George Red Simmons held a press conference that day.
And the body had suffered severe trauma and was missing limbs.
They set up a tip line and handed out flyers.
And anyone who has any information that might help us identify this infant.
The tragic story made headlines across Northeast Ohio.
Chief Deputy James Lengel says it's possible the boy had been run over by a car or mauled by an animal.
This is very tragic, very disgusting.
Deputies interviewed neighbors in the area, going door to door. They contacted police agencies across the state looking for any cases of missing infants and reached out to hospitals requesting a list of all of the births in the last 3 months in 3 counties, Geauga, Lake, and Ashtabula.
Babies are very hard to identify, and we need information.
Detective Bureau.
Calls immediately started pouring into the tip line. We got a hold of hours of calls in the case file. At least 2 of them were from school bus drivers. They saw the baby on their bus routes that morning.
Oh my gosh. Right? So this poor baby being found on the side of the road like it was, but we'll go on to, this may take a few shows to get through everything, but because there's a lot and I just stumbled across it today, but I wanted to share it with you guys. But it was a high profile case all over the news, everything. And the mom is going to try, like, she is a terrible person. It's absolutely crazy when you hear her speak. It's lie after lie after lie. The cops tell her, like, they know she's lying. Her story doesn't make sense even after 3 decades. Might as well just come out with it now. Hi, Lindsay. You never heard of this one either? Hi, Yvonne. Nice to see you guys.
It was hard to determine if it was a stuffed baby doll or like a little stuffed animal.
So I went down in it and I looked and, wait a minute, that's a baby. And I thought, nah, that has to be a baby doll.
A mountainous amount of information to sift through. What was legitimate and what could lead detectives astray?
To love and care for this little child.
Days passed without many answers, and the community held a funeral for the baby boy, calling him GEAUGA'S child. Investigators hid in plain sight in the church parking lot, catching the people attending on camera.
Today's date is November 13th, 1993. The time is approximately 12:10 hours.
They zoomed in on the license plate of each car and the driver's face before they parked.
Adam Paul Lincoln.
It's a Geauga.
Okay, so I didn't see that part. Now I'm curious, did the mother show up at the funeral? Because she tries to tell the police she had no idea that this baby was all over the news or that it was a big deal. She just totally forgot about it and went on with her life and had 3 more children and got married and everything. Absolutely insane.
Investigators looked for a woman able to hide a pregnancy.
She's overweight.
That operation brought no answers, but investigators didn't stop there. They set up surveillance cameras in a few locations, including a camera aimed at some neighbors' houses, close to where the baby was found. But they didn't catch much movement. Meanwhile, the community, so touched by the tragedy, raised money for a headstone, placing it in Maple Grove Cemetery, not far from Sidley Road. On the back of the headstone, a poem reads, "GEAUGA'S child lies here, now in safety, loved by many, just too late." So deputies set up a surveillance camera there too. The tape showed footage through snowstorms and clear days. Visitors brought
1 second, I'm gonna grab the halls. Okay, well. Sorry, guys. No, I guess I can't find those. No. I know I didn't eat them all, darn it.
Flowers and toys. On what should have been the baby's first Christmas Eve, the headstone sat in silence in the snow.
Years passed and investigators kept digging, but still no answers. A decade later...
Ah, thank you, Chris. Thank you so much for being a member for 4 months. Choo choo! Choo choo! I appreciate that. Thank you.
They got their hopes up again and tried to crack the case
Hi,
with
Little
new
Red.
DNA technology. They checked a sample from the baby against suspects in a law enforcement database, but nothing turned up.
Trying to solve the murders of 3 young girls in 1973.
We're now actively trying to...
Years continued to go by, and work on the case continued behind the scenes. It turns out detectives had several female suspects the public never heard about in the 2010s. They ruled them out with DNA one by one. In 2018, a break in an infamous cold case across the country gave them hope again.
The suspected Golden State Killer, 72-year-old James D'Angelo, appeared in court Friday.
Hi,
suspected
Polly.
of committing at least 12 murders, more than 50 rapes, and staging hundreds of break-ins going back to the 1970s.
Investigators used a new method called investigative genetic genealogy to track down the Golden State Killer. It's a new frontier for law enforcement and forensic scientists.
Actually, I was the first one to try it in 2011. I am the pioneer.
Colleen Fitzpatrick
Yeah,
is
she
president
is.
and
Just look at her. Just kidding.
founder of Identifinders International. She did not work on this case.
We find people. We do genetic genealogy and we identify people.
She solved 2 John and Jane Doe cases before investigators finally caught the Golden State Killer. Those cases brought this new investigative technique into the spotlight.
We get DNA from the crime lab, the law enforcement agency. We send it to the lab. The lab creates a data set or a profile, upload it to the database, and we look for matches. And then we do our Sudoku puzzle.
They use public genealogy databases to look for a match. Now, countless investigations like this are underway across the country.
I think it's going to continue. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. This is too effective a way of solving crimes.
Just a few years ago, not many law enforcement agencies had tried investigative genetic genealogy. Inspired by the Golden State Killer case,
I wonder why.
a new detective on GEAUGA'S child decided...
Why wouldn't very many try? Hold up. Okay, there we go. That'll work. Okay.
to give it a try. 25 years after GEAUGA'S child was found in 2018.
The Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner's Office
Quite
had
sure
kept
how to say
tooth
that.
buds, DNA from
GEAUGA.
those tooth buds from the baby, and that DNA was suitable for comparison.
Teeth, experts say, are the best source of DNA. Preserving evidence like that was ahead of its time.
That is very remarkable because in other cold cases that we have that we're still working on, the DNA is old technology, it's not suitable, or it's diluted, or multiple samples.
What Detective Don Seaman was looking for, identifying the
that's a
parents
name.
of the baby, was like finding a needle in the haystack. But after getting their hopes up, another disappointment for detectives a month later.
The hits that would come up initially were very distant, like 3rd to 4th generation cousins.
The lab they worked with didn't find enough
hi,
close
my
family
wrench.
members to move forward.
Some cases they give you, here's your suspect, go get.
We're doing that members live tomorrow, by the way. Tomorrow evening. We're doing a live tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening for the members, but afternoon for everyone.
We didn't have that, so we had to do this all on our own.
But Detective Seaman didn't give up.
So I started looking at some of the genealogy sites like Ancestry.
I could not have that name as a detective, just saying.
23andMe. However, we could not submit the baby's DNA kit to those private sites They won't let law enforcement
Oh,
submit
wow,
cases like
Lindsay.
this to those private sites because of confidentiality.
Instead, they submitted the baby's DNA to GEDmatch, a public DNA comparison database used by
So,
many
do you
people.
talk about that much? Is there anything your family needs help with? More awareness? Feel free to reach out to my email. ihearvoices19@yahoo.com.
Interested in learning more about their ancestry. Over the next few months,
Exactly,
Detective
Brandy.
Seaman started
Yes.
painstakingly building a family tree for
This helps so
GEAUGA'S
many
child
cases, yep.
on the private
Especially with the cold
genealogy site.
cases.
It would eventually hold the names of about 1,400 ancestors of the baby.
There
One
you
day,
go,
he
sis.
tracked down the man who submitted the closest DNA match they could find on GEDmatch.
We did identify a family member very early on who, without him, we would not be here today.
Coming up, a Nebraska man becomes key to cracking the case.
Interesting. Because during I watched part of her, several hours of interrogation tapes, and so she's got the 3 kids now, but there's talk about it's possible she has killed 2 newborn babies or something. But as we go through this, you'll see, because the cops are talking about this baby who she buried in the woods, but wasn't like barely but under a little bit of brush. So the animals is what dragged that poor newborn baby to the side of the road, and what also ended up decapitating the baby's limbs and stuff as well. Just disturbing all around. But then she talks, the husband brings up to the cops about another time, like, and then she claims she had a miscarriage or something. So yeah, questioning if she has killed 2 newborn babies.
And that was basically our ground zero to build that family tree.
And other clues from the baby's DNA, like his Middle Eastern ancestry, narrowed down his identity.
Interesting.
This is why I stopped shopping on Amazon, and you should too. Don't spend another dime on Amazon.
Okay, well, if you
One
say
of the
so.
closest hits to GEAUGA'S child in GEDmatch traced back to a man named Vernon Holden,
Yes.
who lived in Omaha, Nebraska. So detectives gave him a call.
Hello? Hello, is this Mr. Holden? Yes. Mr. Holden, my name is Don Seaman.
It turns out Vernon had submitted his father-in-law's DNA to the site, and he was a 3rd-generation cousin match to GEAUGA'S child. Vernon offered to help build his father-in-law's family tree in more detail.
We're all trying to do everything we can. So with your help, hopefully we can get closer to some closure for this.
I can help. I'll try to help.
All right. I really appreciate it.
With Vernon's help, the family tree kept growing.
So the DNA lies the groundwork, but you still have to go out there and do the regular, good old-fashioned police work.
At the end of the day, that's what solved this case, was good old-fashioned police work.
And thank God they didn't give up, right? 27 years. The police department and everything in the whole county did like fundraising to give the baby a proper burial service and a giant headstone and stuff. And this chick is going to claim she had no idea about any of it. Bullshit.
Gives you leads, much like if somebody
Bullshit.
called in and gave us information, but you still have to go out to
Right,
talk to
I don't
people,
know,
you have to
Flicking.
interview them.
Hi,
We
Flicking.
built that family tree, and then we started contacting folks, and they would tell us, well, you know, Sue is related to me and in the family tree too, and she's in Ancestry. So we would reach out to Sue and say, you know, explain to Sue the nature, and then ask her to put her DNA from the private sites into GEDmatch so we could see the correlation.
1 second. Okay. All right, here we go back.
GEDmatch compiles the DNA and ancestry information from other sites, but only if it's uploaded voluntarily. Most people were more than happy to help.
And that was very
that's
instrumental in taking that ocean, if you will, that family tree of 1,400 people down to a pond.
Detective Seaman had a clue from the baby's DNA profile that could help narrow things down. On one side of the family, he was of Middle Eastern descent, Lebanese.
But when you're working a case this big, this is all consuming.
I can't tell you how much work we put into it. Again, we're talking to people all over the world, France, Lebanon, England, the different time zones. I would come in the middle of the night. I would use Google Translate to communicate with these people. I would get an email and get so excited because we found like a piece of the family tree or something, and I would come in the middle of the night and work on it. A lot of the people that were working night shift thought I was crazy, but we knew that we were heading down the right road and hoping that eventually we would be able to bring some resolution to this case.
But before that would happen, detectives hit a number of dead ends. Over and over, they kept striking out.
I remember getting excited, all of us, hooting and howling in the office.
But they didn't quit, though. Again, they didn't quit. Imagine how frustrating 27 years would be. We are so frustrated, and we're not even at the 3-year mark just yet.
Occasions that we thought we had it figured out,
Sally.
just to find out that it was
Welcome.
just another dead end, if you will, that it wasn't, where we were trying to get to.
They interviewed new possible suspects and potential parents of the baby. One clue even led them back down Sidley Road, where GEAUGA'S child was found. A family member remembered visiting her uncle who used to live there and his pregnant girlfriend for Thanksgiving in November 1992. But the baby was never born, and she never heard about it again.
We got some trash pulls. We got some DNA out of the trash, and he had a girlfriend that was pregnant at the time, no baby, and he was not the father. Another time that we thought we had it figured out, and we just didn't.
Still ahead, how a family's history with a church camp finally leads investigators to the identity.
Very interesting, these church camps and stuff.
Of GEAUGA'S child.
GEAUGA'S child.
Investigators are getting closer. They figured out GEAUGA'S child was a grandchild of one of 10 siblings, but they didn't have a match so far to the baby.
So detectives went to visit the only living possible grandparent.
His name was Harvey. Harvey was adopted outside of his family at a very young age. I think it was 3 to 6 months old. We didn't think we would ever identify Harvey.
That led them to a last name they hadn't seen in the family tree. His adopted last name, Eastwood. It was a big get. Harvey had 2 daughters, but he didn't seem to know where Geauga County even was.
And as we were leaving, he made a comment about that his kids and grandkids met their spouses at a camp. And that was kind of that moment where we turned around and said, Harvey, what camp? What are you talking about? You never told us about a camp. And he started giving us directions on how to get to that camp, which was leading right into Geauga County, Ashtabula County. He gave us the name of the camp, and my partner and I Googled it, that it was Camp Canonia.
Just a mile away from where the baby was found dead in the road. Detectives then asked Harvey again whether either of his daughters dated a man of Middle Eastern descent.
He said, well, yeah, my daughter Gail, she married a guy, I think he's Lebanese. And that was when we knew that we had found what we were looking for. Ultimately, Harvey and his wife gave us DNA that day, and it came back 2 weeks later that they were the grandparents of GEAUGA'S child.
Oh, whoa. Hey, Nikki. Yeah, it is quite disgusting. Wow.
A huge break in the case.
Huge
the mother
break.
and father of Geauga's child finally identified. Their investigative work just had to be confirmed by DNA once again. Now that they had the name of Gail's husband, Mark Ritchie, investigators went back to the other side of
I
the
don't
family
know,
tree
babe. I'll
and found
just
the
figure
Ritchie
it out
last name
after this.
linked to Geauga's child.
Because
There
it's
it was,
frustrating
1,400
me. I keep trying to do it on the side, but they've changed fucking everything, and now I'm getting pissed. Is Selena in here? Wait, I am Selena, and I hope you are. What? It's the old Tennessee Nano channel, but I have a private question. Okay, my email is in my description all the time. It's right here too.
Ancestors later, an enormous family tree, finally connecting the suspected father and mother to GEAUGA'S child. Leading to this moment, deputies from Geauga County Sheriff's Office have been waiting for.
Oh
for
my
decades.
gosh!
You have any idea what we want to talk to you about?
Oh my gosh, this is the bitch right here.
It was about a baby.
Yeah.
It's
What
about a baby.
A baby that was left.
Girl.
Coming up, the confrontation and confession.
Not just a baby that was left. Sorry, the headphones bumping on the microphone probably doesn't sound good. Not that the baby was left. It's the fact that that baby was alive and breathing when she put it in not one but two garbage bags and then put it in the ground a little bit. That baby died from being in the bags and suffocating and being left. Not just because you left a baby behind.
A mother's horrifying secret uncovered more than 2 decades later.
And to find out that she might have done this with 2 babies.
26 years later, hundreds of man-hours, leads, and dead ends, and the day had finally come. Gail Eastwood Ritchie's borrowed time was up.
Listen, Geauga County Sheriff's Office. We just want to see if we could talk to you for a couple of minutes.
In May 2019, 2 detectives approached Gail in her driveway in Euclid. This is the view from one of their body cameras.
You have any idea what we want to talk to you about? Because I kind of think you might.
It was about a baby.
Yeah. What about?
A baby that was left.
Mm-hmm. We're not here to judge you, Gail. We don't know what was going on at the time. We don't want to speculate either, okay? So I don't think you want us to speculate. We're not here to arrest you. We are here to take your DNA, and we would like for you to tell us your side of the story.
Gail's expression doesn't change much.
I think after 26 years, it's time. Don't you? It's had to be weighing on you.
Again,
Right.
silence, but detectives mean business.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a copy of the warrant, okay? This is your copy to keep.
They swab her mouth for DNA.
What this does is just collect some skin cells from the inside of your mouth.
Coming up, a confession 26 years in the making.
I wasn't sure what to do. No one knew.
A husband blindsided.
So my wife said this?
Mm-hmm. So
That's news to me.
And what else is Gail hiding?
Is there any other pregnancies or children?
I'm Sarah Goldenberg. That's next on episode 2 of To Catch a Killer, GEAUGA'S Child.
OMG. I'm not sure where this is. Like, I know the street name, but I don't know exactly where it is at. And, you know, case is solved now anyway. I don't need to know where it's at, but... Exactly, Migs. Yes, Nikki, so bad and terrible and just beyond. She does, yeah. Very cold
A
woman.
break in a cold case 26 years later.
That was when we knew that we had found what we were looking for.
A baby boy found dead and abandoned on a snowy country road in 1993.
I don't know how anyone could do that. It's awful.
New DNA technology leading detectives to his killer, his own mother, who dumped his body not far from her church camp.
You have any idea what we want to talk to you about?
It was about a baby.
Yeah. What about?
A baby that was left.
In episode 1,
she is
detectives
so
just confronted Gail Eastwood Ritchie and took a DNA sample. Inside the interrogation room, the truth begins to come out. What happened to her baby more than 2 decades ago? I'm Sarah Goldenberg. You're watching episode 2 of To Catch a Killer, GEAUGA'S Child.
In May 2019, Detective Don Seaman sits down across from Gail Eastwood Ritchie, a woman he spent hundreds of hours building a family tree from DNA hits to track down.
I want to be sure you're okay. There's some tissues there for you.
Gail tells them she was 23 when she got pregnant with her now husband, Mark, who was a few years older. For months, she said she didn't even know she was pregnant.
I wasn't sure what to do. No one knew.
She was living with
You're
her
gonna see it. She is nothing but a damn liar.
parents at the time and nannying for a family in Shaker Heights. That's where she says she had the baby. A warning, what comes next is disturbing. We've edited this part for time and clarity.
I was waiting for them to come home from school. I hadn't been feeling well at all that day. The next thing I knew, I was giving birth to a baby in the toilet. I didn't know what to do.
She's such...
The only thing I could think of was to put the baby in a bag. I had
Two
no
bags.
idea what the sex was. I never looked at it. I took it out to my car. I placed it in the trunk.
Disgusting.
Cleaned up the bathroom.
Bitch.
Was the baby still in a bag at that time? Or did you put it in something else? Like a garbage bag? Mm-hmm. Went on with the rest of the evening with the kids. Then I went home.
Several days later, she can't remember, maybe a whole week.
Sure.
Gail says she went to her church's youth group at a camp in Geneva with the baby dead in her trunk. From there, she drove a few miles to Thompson Township, where the baby would later be found.
Just ended up stopping on a road. I don't know which road. And I took the bag out of the trunk and I laid it in the woods. I didn't know what to do. Was anybody with you in the car? No. No, I was by myself.
She doesn't remember how far she walked before dumping her child's body.
I do remember a lot of snow, and I walked in as far as I could, and I left the bag.
Wow. This chick really thought she would get away with this for the rest of her life, too. Like, DNA fucked her game all the way up.
You know that the baby was born alive. I don't remember. I don't recall it ever crying.
Very interesting what she does remember, and then the things she says she can't remember. Well, I can't remember this, I can't remember this, but I can remember that. So, like, very much selective memory.
Before dumping her child's body.
I do remember a lot
Sure
of
is
snow,
running.
and I walked in as far as I could, and I left the bag. You know that the baby was born alive. I don't remember. I don't recall it ever crying. Okay. But it's not like it was stillborn or anything. I mean, the coroner's report shows that it actually was breathing. Okay. So, at some point,
Hear that?
there had to be something kind of that you heard or saw, and the baby had...
They're telling her, like, you heard or saw something, because, like, we got the reports back, and that baby was alive when you put him in the garbage bags. That baby was breathing and alive.
there had to be something kind of that you heard or saw, and the baby had to be moving, or... It's possible. I don't remember.
Excuse me? It's possible the baby was making noise and moving around? It's possible, but I just can't remember. Fake crying, all right. It's possible you just can't remember, but you just done lied to them and said, no, it wasn't. She was trying to make it seem like she had given birth to a stillborn, is what she wanted to try and get away with, but nope, won't fly.
Detectives sense she's not telling them everything. Gail says she never heard the baby cry and never cut the child's umbilical cord. But these details aren't adding up with the autopsy.
Right.
The report can show that the baby was born alive, okay, and that the baby had taken breaths. Okay. So that tells me that the baby was moving, and there had to be some type of screaming or something that you heard or saw. It's possible, but I really don't remember it ever making a sound.
Gail guesses she had the baby in January of 1993.
So you're confident that Mark is the father? Mark's the father, yeah.
Gail shows no emotion over the baby, who she calls it, and she never expresses regret for what she did.
You didn't know what to do. Was it because you were young, because you weren't married? You know, you're afraid to tell your parents? I understand you're Baptist. I was definitely afraid to tell my parents.
Gail says she hid the pregnancy from Mark. At 200 to 230 pounds, she said it wasn't that difficult.
And I wasn't sure if we'd get married. I was always afraid of losing him.
Did you just hear that? Welcome to the Crazy Train, Poetic Justice. Choo choo!
So you would rather lose a child than take the risk of losing Mark, the only man that's ever loved you.
You would rather lose your child than risk losing Mark. The only guy that loves you.
To interrogate Gail Eastwood Ritchie at the Geauga County Sheriff's Office. At the same time, about 20 miles away in Euclid, deputies pay a visit to her husband, Mark Ritchie.
Mark Ritchie?
Hi,
How
Sabrina.
you doing, sir? We're detectives with the Geauga County Sheriff's Office.
Okay.
We just have to talk to you about some stuff.
At the time, Gail and Mark Ritchie had been married for 25 years and had 3 adult children together. Mark has no idea what's happening with his wife back at the sheriff's.
He has no idea. And here's my thing. I really think that she killed that baby and maybe another one because it wasn't going to be Mark's baby. And she didn't want to lose him. She was afraid of losing him. So you're going to hear the cops say that doesn't make sense because he married you, had 3 kids with you, still married, like everything's good for all this time. Like it doesn't make sense because they had talked about getting married and having kids. So you killing your kid because you didn't want to lose Mark doesn't make sense. What does make sense is if it wasn't Mark's baby and you didn't want to lose Mark and so you did what you did. That's what makes more sense in my head of what she's saying. Big Nasty's right, Lindsay. Yep.
Office.
My other partner and I, we've been, for the last year, like I said, we've been trying to identify this baby in the family. So obviously from 1993, we've had DNA. We get DNA, we try it, no good. And eventually we just ran out of places to go.
They lead him through their work on the baby's family tree, which eventually led them to Mark's father-in-law, Harvey.
We were able to track the DNA to descendants of like Harvey and above, going way back to 1809.
Investigators were looking for any coincidences they could find. Who was out in Geauga County in 1993 that could have left this baby?
Harvey tells us about Camp Koinonia.
Camp Koinonia.
Koinonia, and how his daughters went there.
Yeah.
So
this is a cold-hearted bitch, man.
Naturally, we got interested. We took DNA from Harvey and from Nancy. And the child is 99.9% their grandchild. So that leaves
He's like, oh shit.
Gail,
Nancy too?
Harvey and Nancy, 99.9% their grandchild. So that says Gail or Nancy.
And then he reveals the reason they're here.
Today we met with Gail, and Gail said that our detectives that she's talked to today are the only two she's ever
Poor
talked to
dude's in
about
shock, though.
birthing a child in Shaker Heights, putting it into a garbage bag, and driving it to Geauga County. So
my wife said this?
Mm-hmm. So
that's news to me.
At some point in June of 1992, or roundabouts, you guys got together and had, she got pregnant. And for whatever reason, she kept it from you. And in March of 1993, she gave birth to that baby. And for whatever reason that we're still trying to figure out, she didn't tell anybody, and she left that baby in Geauga County.
What do you, wow. I have no, I don't know what to say.
Wow.
I mean, we don't know what to say either. It's been
like,
26 years in the making. We've been everywhere and done everything. We've gone as far as Alabama to get DNA, and it's actually ended up.
This doesn't sound like my wife. I just don't believe it. But what am I going to do? How do I argue the science, right?
Coming up, is Mark's shock genuine?
I find it hard.
I don't know, because he went on to have kids with her. So why would he? Yeah, I think it's genuine. I don't know. I guess we'll
believe
see.
that my wife would have kept something like that from me.
Detectives have to ask him one important question before they can rule him out as a suspect too.
What's the question? What's the question?
At this point, detectives are pretty sure Gail kept the pregnancy, the murder, and the abandonment of her baby to herself. But they have to ask her husband, Mark, that.
Do you think she kept it to herself? Or is he blindsided? Or is he blindsided, or does he know? I feel like blindsided.
Question.
So that's why, if there is anything that's going to come out that shows that you have prior knowledge, now would be the best time.
I don't think so, Brett.
I'm telling you, dude, I got nothing.
Okay.
I'm doing my best to not fall off my chair in shock.
Detectives seem convinced after questioning him some more. Before they leave, they ask for his DNA sample.
You know how we said 99% for the grandparents? Now we're going to get 100% to prove that you were you are the father.
Meanwhile, Gail is still under
that was
interrogation,
weird.
and her lies are about to unravel.
Had you ever been pregnant prior to this pregnancy?
No.
Because your husband had indicated that he was aware that you were pregnant at some point.
Mark remembered Gail being pregnant and telling him she miscarried between 1992 and 93 before GEAUGA'S child was born.
So you for sure only been pregnant
a second kid,
3 times
possibly.
in your life.
I had a miscarriage before the twins, but we were married then.
Something else is baffling investigators.
Did you ever follow or read any stories or anything, in the news, or see any news clipping, stories or anything like that about anything?
I did not.
No.
I did not know the baby was found.
Detectives have a hard time believing Gail since it was such a high-profile case.
Right.
And something else seems strange
She was
to
probably
them.
watching
they know
everything
Gail
about
went
it.
back to that church camp year after year, bringing her children there as they grew up.
You hear that? That is one sick bitch. Whoa.
I saw it was somewhere close by. That doesn't kindle those memories, or?
It hadn't, no.
No, it's something that's just left in the past.
Another murder of an innocent baby. Detectives learned GEAUGA'S child was not Gail Eastwood Ritchie's first victim. I'm Sarah Goldenberg. That part of the story next.
Whoa.
Several hours into Gail's interrogation, investigators check on how she's doing. She tells them she thought about ending her life that day.
I knew
they promised
there was
to get her
two,
a counselor
probably.
to talk to, but the interrogation isn't over yet.
Detectives tell Gail her DNA sample is about to go into GETAWAY, a national DNA database law enforcement and crime labs use to store and compare DNA profiles of criminal suspects and unidentified people. They give her one last chance to come clean on anything else she may be hiding.
You know and I know this isn't the only time. That there's more
that's
times
fucked.
that this has happened.
Wow.
And now is the time that you need to tell us about those, Gail.
There's all different levels, Brandy, of memberships, but every level gets the same thing. It's just on how much you want to help with the platform, but everyone gets the same content, if that makes sense. It's just on the level that you want to donate and help the platform with per month.
How many other times has this happened? One other time. One other time?
One
Their
other
suspicion
time!
was right. Gail didn't just kill and dump GEAUGA'S child. Another innocent baby had fallen victim too. Another pregnancy hidden from Mark before GEAUGA'S child was born in 1991.
What? I
Gail
knew
was
it.
20 years old at the time. She says she went into labor at Mark's rental house in Cuyahoga County. A warning, this may be disturbing.
I did the same thing. Put it in a garbage bag.
Whoa! What? She is a serial baby killer.
And what did you do with the garbage bag? I left it.
What the fuck?
You left it. What does that mean, Gail? I took it and left it over by medical buildings in Euclid.
Another baby discarded
That
like a piece
is
of trash. Gail says she doesn't remember
absolutely
much,
crazy.
including if the child was a boy or a girl. But she does say the baby was full term.
Was the baby moving in the bag?
Oh.
I don't remember. You don't remember? Do you not remember, or do you just kind of block that out of your memory?
Very
really
horrible.
don't remember.
Yes, Amanda.
But Gail does remember where she abandoned this baby and cooperates with investigators.
If we gave you a piece of paper, can you kind of draw the area where you left the baby?
Detectives sadly aren't surprised to hear this confession.
Did you ever think about any names for these children? No. No? You didn't want to? Because you didn't want them?
Right on, Lindsay, yes.
They make sure there aren't any other cases they need to know about.
Suspect stuff?
Nothing to anyone else, no.
Just these two children?
More than 4 hours later, detectives finally have their confession from Gail Eastwood Ritchie, the mother of GEAUGA'S child.
Sorry.
What was her demeanor like during the confession?
She was very cold, in my opinion. Really not a lot of emotion, and she said she never really thought about him again. That the first time she thought about those children was when her father, Harvey, told her that we had visited him. So 26 years later was the first time she thought about those children again.
I don't know.
Which I just
Good
couldn't
question.
believe.
Now that detectives have their confession, the answer a community has been waiting for years. A mother behind bars and justice for GEAUGA'S child. Finally, 26 years later, Geauga County Sheriff Scott Hildenbrand announces an arrest for the murder of GEAUGA'S child.
She admitted that she had birthed the child, placed him in a trash bag, and left him in a wooded area. That I don't know how you could wake up the next morning like that, let alone 26 years later, and raise a family and go on like a normal person. I don't know how you do that.
Please respect our privacy. We have no comment at this time.
Gail
Excuse
pleaded
me?
not guilty to murder
And there goes the
aggravated
husband,
murder
hand
of
in
her
hand,
own
telling
child.
everyone
At
respect
trial in
them.
March 2022, the
Wouldn't you
defense
be
claimed
pissed?
GEAUGA'S child was not born alive. Was GEAUGA'S child a stillborn baby?
Nope.
There is indication that
It was
breathed on its own.
breathing on its own
The
in the
only
bag.
evidence prosecutors had was 3 samples of the baby's lung tissue.
And so that's why it's a live birth that was had given the opportunity, may have lived a full life.
Experts on both sides argued back and forth over whether or not the child actually took a breath.
We do not know the cause of death. That statement is a recognition of potential, but it's also a recognition that we don't really know the cause of death.
Gail never took the stand in her defense. 4 days later, a verdict.
On count 2, the charge of murder is guilty.
And soon after, harsh words from the judge as he sentenced Gail Eastwood Ritchie to life in prison with the possibility of parole in 15 years.
Ultimately, you gained that time on the back of a helpless
offense. 4 days later, a verdict.
On count 2, the charge of murder is guilty.
And soon after, harsh words from the judge as he sentenced Gail Eastwood Ritchie to life in prison with the possibility of parole in 15 years.
Nope.
Ultimately, you gained that time on the back of a helpless infant whose body you concealed in the woods. Ironically, GEAUGA'S child did more for you than you ever did for him, probably.
It was a cold case detectives never gave up on, helped along by advances in science and DNA technology. But it took more than DNA to solve the case.
I think the case always could have been solved, but the genealogy portion of it just basically gave us leads that we were able to follow through with and then ultimately led us to Gail.
The case isn't closed yet. Gail Eastwood Ritchie's attorney is in the process of appealing her conviction.
Oh, no.
I felt that the state, frankly, did not have enough evidence to meet their burden of proof.
We still have no answers in the death of Gail and Mark's other baby, but Euclid police say without a body, the case is inactive.
GEAUGA'S child, that baby boy who touched the lives of so many who never knew him, would be 29 years old if he was alive today. I'm Sarah Goldenberg. Thanks for watching. You can catch our entire special on
Shock and confusion, two words that come to mind. Eastwood Ritchie kept a dark secret. A secret, now a confession. Nearly 30 years later, new DNA technology, the only thing leading to her arrest and to finally come clean.
This video contains the interrogation of a woman whose DNA linked her to a baby who was abandoned to die. In 1993, the remains of a newborn infant were found in a wooded area of Ohio. It had been left in a garbage bag, but wild animals had dragged it closer to the road where it was discovered. It quickly made the local news, and the community came forward with donations to pay for the burial. The baby soon became known as GEAUGA'S child, after the county in which he was found. For nearly 26 years, the case remained unsolved, and many had given up hope of ever finding out who was responsible. In 2019, with the rising popularity of DNA testing and online ancestry sites, a break in the case was finally made. After narrowing the search, the detectives were able to identify the mother, Gail Eastwood Ritchie.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing? Good. Listen, the Geauga County Sheriff's Office. We just want to see if we can talk to you for a couple of minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You have any idea what we want
Well, yeah. Sure, yeah, you're here now. Come on in.
to talk to you about? Because I kind of think you might.
Well, my parents said that you were at their house.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think that's about?
Yeah.
It was about a baby.
Yeah. What about?
A baby that was left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was, Lindsay.
Can you tell us about it? We're not here to judge you, Gail.
Eastwood Ritchie was not prepared to be confronted at that particular moment, but she isn't surprised that she is about to be questioned. Her voice and facial expression show she would do anything to avoid this conversation.
Yeah.
We don't know what was going on at the time. We don't want to speculate either, okay? So I don't think you want us to speculate. We're not here to arrest you, okay? We are here to take your DNA, okay? And we would like for you to tell us your side of the story.
But warrant for your DNA, girl.
As of right now, you're not under arrest. You're not going to be arrested today.
You will be arrested when the DNA.
But we want to know what was going on. I think after 26 years, it's time.
Hell yeah.
Don't you?
26 years.
It's had to be weighing on you.
Damn.
Should we go inside?
Well, what we'd like to do
Look how
is
calm she
get your
is.
DNA.
Creepy when people
and
are
then
like
we would
that.
like for you to come back to our sheriff's office so that we can talk. You're not being arrested, okay? But we need to sit down and we need to hear your side of the story, okay? All right, so I'm going to get my stuff.
Because I think
real quick.
it's, I'm
We're
not
gonna
sure.
take your DNA here. I have a signed search
The
warrant from the
town
Cuyahoga County Common Pleas judge. Okay. and
call
I'll
it that
give you a
because they
copy of
didn't
that
know
warrant.
who the baby was.
You will have a copy for you to keep.
It was called Baby
the
Doe.
DNA
So the
process is a very
community
non-invasive process. I'm
came
sure your
together
parents
and
probably told you.
did the
Just
funeral
swipe a
and
Q-tip
all
on the
that,
inside of your mouth. We'll
headstone and all
collect it real
that.
quick.
So I think
Then we'll
they
go back to the sheriff's office.
named
And
it
at some
after
point
like
today,
the
we'll
community
bring you back
name
in.
or
Okay.
something.
The connection between Eastwood Ritchie has been made through information found on a DNA ancestry site. Getting Eastwood Ritchie's DNA will confirm that the baby was hers and not that of a close relative.
All right, so let me grab my stuff real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay. Obviously, our car's right down the street. I have all the stuff to grab that stuff.
Can I let my employer know that I'm not going to be into work? That's where I was going.
Just 1 minute. Right now, I don't want you to make any phone calls in the moment. Okay.
I was just going to text you.
She's all worried about
Okay, where's your
going,
phone at?
I gotta go to work, so like, can I
Okay.
tell work I'm gonna be late, or... Girl, you're a serial baby
Where do you work?
killer. You...
A Marine Laundering School
What
of
the fuck?
Dance.
I don't think your work is gonna want you there. Yeah, by the people that the kid should be able to trust, right? Be protected by? Are the
Yep, that's fine.
ones
And I'm actually going to just hold your phone just for officer safety reasons. Okay, we'll explain that to you in a second.
Y'all teach them about?
Sure.
I hate that, sis. I hate that.
So you're a dance instructor?
No, I'm the office manager.
Oh, it's a dance school though? Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a copy of the warrant. Okay. This is your copy of the key. Here's your copy of the warrant. It is signed by the Cuyahoga County Common Pleas judge. Okay.
You don't need to build a business to generate a solid income online. There is an easier way. Now, the secret
There
to escaping the
is.
rat race is hiding.
Oop, there we go. Why is she... These people are way too calm.
Sorry to do this right here, but you have to understand that the warrant is signed here in Cuyahoga County, so you need to execute it here in Cuyahoga County. Real 7 p.m. like that.
This lady killed 2 babies. 2 newborn babies, okay? And she's just sitting here, cool, calm, collected. Me and my crazy hair over here. Not a
What
care.
did you say you worked at? You were telling the sergeant?
Marine Laundering School of Dance.
Oh, where's that at?
Village.
Snakeville Village.
She just texted her boss and just let her know something came up. So
I don't know what's going on.
You wrote down an answer you. Let's say what you think.
Mm-hmm. Look at her.
What this does is just collect some skin cells from each side of your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
The warrant has been served, and Eastwood Ritchie is wanting to move the conversation indoors. She won't be able to keep this secret for long, but this isn't something she wants to do while the neighbors watch. If you haven't yet, check out my Patreon. It is full of exclusive videos, like this one, about Luis Rivera. Unlike regular interrogations, Rivera, a murderer for hire, is given evidence as a part of a deal to reduce his sentence.
No, because she's got boys and girls. She has 3 kids.
Partner is coming in.
I think we'll go over this part tomorrow, and when they haul her husband in too. Absolutely unbelievable. And I think I'm gonna have more Ruby Frankie stuff for tomorrow too. But you guys, look into her. Gail, what is it? Gail something. Gail Eastwood Ritchie. Look up this case because it just came on my feed today. But this lady is crazy. And I kind of want to write to her and say, what the fuck, lady? So I think I might. She's insane. And to act so calm about it, I just need to know, like, what is mentally going on up there. Absolutely disturbing. Yeah, she's got 3 kids, and I believe it, yeah, either, I know there's a girl. Very interesting. All right, you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. I'll probably see you around these streets for a little bit before I go to bed. But I want to spend some time with the mister before it's going to be an early night. He's got a long ride for work and everything. I'm going to try and get him on. He's got to get more podcasting. But we're going to start some lives on the TikTok too. So make sure you guys have a TikTok so we can help spread Summer's name all the way over there too. Hi, Lake. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Love, 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 love. Bye.